So what do you say? What was the update on ETH?
ETH, as of the last 7 days, is down 15.5%. Bitcoin is down 6.3%. Binance 3.8. XRP is up 23%.
Hello everyone, my name's Alex.
My name is William,
This is Sometimes Crypto.
the Unscripted Crypto Podcast.
You're listening.
Oh, you just threw me off because I typically say this is another week, and I was waiting for you to say that. It kind of got thrown off
You
there.
say this is another week?
This is another week.
This is another week of
Sometimes Crypto, the Unscripted Crypto. Doesn't matter. This is episode 4.
episode 4.
We're 4 into this.
Yep. Today we're going to be talking about
A few things.
some things.
What do you mean? I thought you were about to tell everybody what we're going to be
A
talking
couple
about.
things. Yeah, no. No, I thought it was funny because it's the same thing that we said last week.
What?
With the we're talking about a few things, some things, real estate. Nah, but today we're talking about forks. Soft forks, hard forks, and
Merge?
merge.
Which not much has happened, just minus 15%, like I said earlier, like 20 seconds ago.
Yep.
Excitement.
Eth Merge has been overall
I heard it was a success. As of right now, there are.
uneventful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry if that echoed there a little bit.
No, we haven't seen like a whole lot of like fluctuation. I mean,
Crazy.
markets are down.
Markets are down, so it's going to continue to go down. We're recording Tuesday, as everyone knows, or should hopefully know. So tomorrow is when the Fed announces its rate hike.
That is Wednesday, September 21st.
And this will go live Thursday, so we'll all be watching to see what happens, how markets react tomorrow, and then the coming days.
To the potential rate hike.
No, I don't know. I don't know about potential. I like using the word guaranteed almost at some points. Close enough to guaranteed at this point.
Mr. Jerome Powell gonna raise rates by we don't know how much.
No. Did we talk about the CPI last week?
CPI? No.
Consumer Price Index?
Nope. We did not talk about the CPI last
Which
week.
is, so everyone knows CPI report came out last week. We were at a little bit above inflation. If I'm not mistaken, it was expected 8.1. We came up at a whopping 8.3.
Oh, actual inflation was above predicted inflation.
Correct.
Okay.
By 0.2.
By 0.2.
A whopping.
A whopping 0.2.
A whopping 0.2.
Yeah, that's actually like a lot in like
Not at this point.
big economics.
You're right. But we've been at this for a minute now. I just find it funny how the printer's still on and the money cutter is still on. So I'm not sure how this works exactly.
The furnace.
Yeah. At the same time, we're making more. We're just burning it. It's
Straight from the printer to
the furnace.
to the fire.
It's an interesting developments we're having. So rate hike comes in tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. There'll probably be an update on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Maybe. I mean,
I'm gonna.
it's not crypto, but
It affects crypto.
it affects crypto.
It affects crypto. So
Maybe.
it's crazy how everyone is looking well as should, I think. Everyone's looking at crypto as since it's like the most volatile asset. That's like the most liquid, the most.
And it's very liquid. So.
Yeah, that's where everyone's like pulling the money out the fastest. Like can't keep up. So interesting developments should occur in the coming months and weeks.
So I think one of the main reasons why there hasn't been a lot of movement with the Ethereum is because they haven't introduced sharding yet, which is one of the things that they were testing on the testnets and stuff like that, but it's not implemented.
So for our non-educated crypto users, what is that exactly? Like myself?
What is the sharding? I don't really fully understand it yet, but it looks like they're trying to break up transactions into smaller batches on like tangent chains that run alongside Ethereum's main chain, and like kind of like a Bitcoin Lightning Network is kind of what I understood from it. So they haven't implemented that into the merge yet, and that's why gas fees haven't been changed.
Hasn't been affected yet. Because like we said, it won't be affected until until it's adjusted, until something is done to
So
handle
sharding is that thing that's supposed to.
Ideally, should be the answer.
Yeah, that they're waiting to.
So would it be like how polygons are layered on top of ETH, or would it be running simultaneously?
No, it's like it is of the same like main chain type.
ETH to ETH. So it will continue to be ETH, just more broken up transactions.
Yeah.
Cool. So that should have an effect, I think.
Yeah, so that's at least that's from what I've been hearing. It's pretty much what it is. Yeah, so on Ethereum.org it pretty much just says that exactly. Sharding is a process of splitting a database horizontally to spread the load. So it just specifically they mentioned it's horizontal.
Yeah.
I guess it has to do with like data structure importance. But yeah, it's the sharding that's supposed to.
So that would be affecting gas fees.
Yeah.
That ideally would make Ethereum more user friendly in terms of gas.
Of gas, yeah.
More competitive in that sense.
Yeah, efficient.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I hope we see progress on that. Because right now, ETH, every time you use an ETH, goddamn,
it's expensive.
It's expensive using ETH, and ETH is expensive.
Yeah.
Relative.
So I think, I know for a fact that there's this chart that shows you the average cost of gas for transactions at a specific hour of the week.
Of the week and days probably.
Yeah, of the entire week. So it splits up the week into 1 hour segments for the entire week.
And shows you which one's
4 hours.
The high end.
Yeah,
low, medium.
It's like a chart. There's like a color gradient in red, and it looks like Tuesday at 3:00 in the morning, our time.
I feel like that has been said before on this podcast.
I don't think so.
Not yet?
No.
Once.
Said no.
He said no. No, we'll say it is now.
Now, at the beginning, I said that we were talking about the Eth Merge and forks.
Forks?
Forks was my first statement. The reason why we're going to be talking about forks, I think, is important information to the users, to our listeners, is that what happened with Ethereum, the merge, is not the fork. Is not a fork. That was a system update. It
was a merger.
It was they were changing up the blockchain itself into a new changing all the nodes into a new blockchain.
Yes.
Were
people saying it was like a fork?
A fork? No. It's because you mentioned how we were having a conversation and you mentioned how there's some people that might want to fork off this new ETH.
I said that on the merge app.
On the merge episode, yeah. So how some people want to fork off from that ETH to a proof of work.
And continue using proof of work.
Yeah. So that is a fork. A fork is essentially whenever there's a shared history, or in this case the shared transactions, and then at some point in time the blocks split off into two different directions.
Cause though. There's a reason why.
Yeah,
it was caused by someone.
Mm-hmm. Consensus. Multiple
Typically.
People would start
agreed on that this is
this
is the correct action.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens whenever there's a fork is the protocol itself operates a little bit different from the other
original
fork. Yeah.
Or the original fork in Ethereum's case.
Yeah, for the Ethereum proof of work.
Oh, I meant it more so towards how we talked about ETH Classic.
Okay, yeah. So that's actually the next thing. The next thing that I want to talk about, a specific fork that has already happened for Ethereum.
The Unscripted Crypto Podcast, guys.
Yeah, just
so happened.
Yeah, it just so happened. Okay, so yeah, ETH Classic. What do you know about it?
What do you mean? What I know?
What? Brought it up, so I was like, oh, okay, I know something about it.
I know a few things about nothing.
Enlighten us.
If I'm not mistaken, originally ETH Classic was just regular Ether, and it was the original. There was a DAO that was created on it that had respectfully venture capitalists. It was a venture capitalist fund that was people just put money into it. It had respectfully 150 million worth of ETH.
That's dollar
That's
value.
The number. That's the number I've seen used.
I don't know. I don't remember the dollar value. I just know that for that particular, because yeah, so you're talking about the DAO, like the first one.
Yeah,
It's literally called that, the DAO.
it's called the DAO. Yeah,
I didn't know the dollar value. I did know that. So what happened was they got hacked and they
correct.
lost their funds. I didn't know that it was worth. What would you say, 150 million?
Well, that's not how much the hackers took. It was just the initial value of how much ETH they had.
Okay.
The hackers took 50 million of that.
Okay, so what I saw was that 5% of the total ETH supply was stolen from that hack.
I didn't know that. I didn't see that. That's not what I've read up. That's not what I heard nor read up on. I heard they just were these numbers.
Let's see if I can find the source of that exactly.
For this number, I got this number from Whiteboard Crypto, the 50 and the 150. And then I also got that. I think I have it here. Let me see. Da-da-da-da. No, I don't think so. Let me see. But that number, I did get it from there, from Whiteboard Crypto. I like them. They're good. I recommend
Whiteboard.
Whiteboard Crypto, Coinbase. I recommend all of them. They give really well detailed information with all like the original sources.
Right. So then, the main reason for the fork, for the ETH Classic fork, was because some people, well, a lot of people wanted to, like, felt it was unjust that they got robbed.
So in the things I saw, it wasn't just some people, it was specifically a creator and founder.
Well, yeah,
Co-founder.
he was a proponent of making the
He was the main proponent
Yeah.
of first it was let me see, I think I wrote it here. He was a proponent just to like return, like creating another 50 million worth of ETH and returning it to them. And everyone in the consensus was like negative, like that's not gonna happen. That isn't the way to do this. Like you just break the system. So his idea instead
That's
was
literally just printing more money. That's fiat.
correct. So they're like negative. So what they decided to do was create. Well, Vitalik decided like we'll just create a new chain where we're gonna return the 50 million ETH, and we're gonna get rid of that bug that allowed them to get hacked.
Yeah. So part of that fork was A, return the money, but B, which I think is the more important B, the fix the bug, so it doesn't happen again.
I'm glad you say it was the most important. It should have been. And from what the feeling I have towards it after like the way it was brought out was Vitalik was like, no, it's not right that they lost it, like it was stolen. Also, the hacker wrote back saying, well, why is it wrong that I stole it if the flaw was there?
Yeah. Well, but that's a whole.
Yeah, it's like when they
thing's like
say
if I have
the
access-
contract. Something I saw was like the contract is law.
That's a hacker thing. Yeah. So okay. So no, the contract, the code is law. The argument for the ETH Classic side, it is, oh, the code says that this was allowed, like
Exactly.
that's what it's good. But like the whole thing about like, oh, but the hacker saying, oh, why is it wrong if I was able to do it? It's like the whole hacker mentality where like, oh, if I could get access to a confidential file, that's not my fault to have access to it. That's an entity's issue for not protecting
For not, yeah.
their own stuff. But yeah, that was the main thing that had the split between the ETH and the ETH Classic people, which was is code law, and obviously the one that won was let's fix it.
Yeah. So also the main difference in this specific case compared to what is happening with the merges, in this specific case, there was two Ethereums created. One was the original Ethereum Classic, which is proof of work still, is based on the original contract of it. This is the way it should work. And then the original protocol. Thank you. And then the new Ethereum that we know now. But what I found, I assume this happens on most forks, is since there was two coins created, holders got both.
Yeah, so that happens with forks.
Wait, which I didn't know that. And so I read up, I'm like, no way. So since they got that merge, that split, that fork, so they got 100 plus the 150.
Yeah.
They got 300 million almost.
Yeah.
Not a 300 million.
Yeah, so the issue with that, yes, what happens is that people, whenever there's a fork, you will get if it's like simply like an update or the users who've already had coins, before what they call a snapshot,
Mm-hmm.
would get like a duplicate in the new chain. The problem, it sounds great, but then the issue that follows is that now the chain has effectively split off, and there's less consensus on both chains.
Yes.
So that increases volatility for both of those. Whenever there's a hard fork specifically,
Yeah, because we should also explain. We're going to explain now the difference between a soft fork and a hard fork.
yeah,
Which are some differences.
yeah. So like that's the main issue with hard forks is that whenever there's a split like that, just consensus goes down. Like it becomes less distributed.
Yeah, because there's
It
one
could still be very distributed, but
because there's people on one side doing one thing and then there's people on the other doing
exactly.
another.
So that loses the validity of both chains.
But isn't that kind of the thing we have now with the amount of coins that exist? Like,
Yeah.
You just can't
Absolutely.
know them all, be on them all.
Absolutely.
Like, you just can't. It's too much.
Yeah, there will be. I think an open market's fine. Like, it's okay for both.
.com bubble though.
Yeah.
I think there's too many.
No, there is too many. Like, there's a lot of dog shit ones out there for sure.
And the other thing is like the fact that, which I don't think is bad. When like how we talked about Tykes creating its own marketplace, they're creating as well as their own coins to use within that marketplace.
Yeah,
That's another aspect like people are going to be doing is adding a coin, just specific use cases within their ecosystem. Like for an example, Apple would have an Apple coin.
That to me makes sense.
Oh no,
sounds
for
like
sure. I'm just saying that's another coin being added to the total supply of
that
like
sounds-
just coins in general
that sounds
and
like
like things to do.
That to me simply sounds like a loyalty program.
Oh, it is for sure. Especially the way we talked about it, that Tykes is gonna have long-term staking, whatever. It is a loyalty program, and then companies will also probably add it to the way they do business. At least I would add more incentive.
Yeah.
It adds a hold rate, like how Apple created the ecosystem to just keep people in because everything connects.
Yeah, it helps having that interoperability of like of having your own like.
Yeah, smoothness of it.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers ETH Classic, ETH Fork.
Not really. So we also another big thing that was added to ETH was there was a lot of 51 attacks because of that. Well, exactly what we just talked about distribution. A lot of people were just able to agree, so they were able to validate twice in 2019, once in 2020, validate fake transactions.
On which chain?
Ethereum Classic.
Oh, okay.
Ethereum Classic, not
Yeah.
ETH. Ethereum Classic was 3 times attacked, 2019, 2020.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now recently, let me see if I put the date. I did not, but I know the Thanos upgrade adjusted for that, accounted for that, corrected it, and there have been no more 51 attacks since that date, which is like 2020 as well.
That's specifically. Oh, that's like specific for the ETH Classic.
ETH Classic, not Ethereum.
Okay, yeah.
No, Ethereum
I
is.
didn't look for that. I was specifically looking for like the fork information.
But that's
But no,
information.
That's
from
good.
it.
That's good information. Like that Thanos update. I'm gonna look into it.
So what's a soft fork, Alex?
Okay, so the difference between a hard fork and a soft fork, like the main issue, or not issue,
No,
like the main. It's
the
not
main difference.
Yeah, just the main difference. The main difference is that hard forks are not interoperable. They're not backwards compatible. You cannot have ETH and have it working on the ETH Classic chain.
The way you worded that is so different than the way I would have worded it. Because you went like it cannot go backwards, and I would have been like you can only go forward. I'll be like you have to upgrade your software to run the new
Yeah, so you would have to. Yeah, you do have to up. That's also
Right?
That's also a good way of putting it. Yeah.
like you went backward, I went forward. It was interesting.
So essentially, for soft forks, you can have interoperability. The soft fork
It's
that
a service upgrade more than anything.
it's kind of like a service upgrade. Yeah, yeah. So the soft fork that I know about the best is the Bitcoin soft fork for segregation witness, or what we call SegWit. That happened in 2017. Essentially, for that fork, I believe what happened was it was a small change in the block size from 5. It changed it to 5 to 7 transactions per second.
Yeah, because now we do 7, right?
Yeah, we do 7 transactions per second on Bitcoin.
Okay, so that was a soft fork. That was great. I didn't know that. I didn't look into that. I should have.
Yeah, that was a South Fork segregation witness. You don't need to be running. You could be running the other Bitcoin before
Okay.
that, and it'll still work, like the original one. Um, there's another South Fork that just happened actually, last year, uh,
Four?
Bitcoin as well,
Oh,
November 2021. Yeah, last year 2021. Called Taproot, which I briefly mentioned it to you the other day. Um, oh, actually, I wrote down the specific block that one went took place on was 709,632.
Jesus.
That was a specific South Fork.
So what did it do, if you
That
remember?
one actually had three. So for forks in Bitcoin, whenever there's these things called BIPs, that's a shorthand. That stands for Bitcoin. What's it called? Bitcoin Improvement Proposal. Um, for Taproot, they implemented three BIPs. It's BIP 340, 341, and 342. Each one had its own like adjustment to the Bitcoin code. Um, Essentially, one of them was made it so that you could combine transactions, uh, like combine complex transactions, so like multi-signatures, instead of having each five, like let's say there's a multi-signature transaction that has five signatures. Instead of having all five of those signatures being put on the blockchain, it's able to like compound, like add them together, so just one transaction, one signature.
Instead of being five separate signatures?
Exactly.
Question, is that good or bad? Is there a big difference between it being broken up into five different transaction signatures versus one?
So
Or
I don't know if I don't know the downside of it,
okay.
if there is a downside.
Is there an upside?
The upside is that it's more efficient at providing information.
Uh,
So it requires less information for the block
to register.
to write. Yeah, so
So
therefore
it's easier back
less
to
work.
read.
That's less work. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, that is specifically BIP 340. For BIP 341, some change to the cryptography. I believe it's specific, like Bitcoin uses something called a Merkle tree. I don't know about it. I've heard it, but I don't know how that works. That's whole cryptography.
That's
thing.
cryptography.
Yeah,
A little deeper than what we currently know. I'm
yeah.
sure.
I will get there one day where I'm like, I will be.
I want to have guests on all these things, like
Yeah, of
more like
course.
in depth, like
Yeah,
someone
someone
who
who
just
just
knows cryptography and be like, "Hey, break this down
drill it,
in English."
drill it. Yeah,
Because I think also I don't think like that's shared enough either. Like those more technical terms broken down to
they're
layman.
technical, but like this is gonna be like, I think there's gonna be stuff taught in definitely in colleges and universities, but
Oh, for sure.
I
can
think
see that.
maybe should be taught in high schools.
Look, man, I'm glad you said that. We just got financial literacy in high school in the year 2021 or 2020
This is the
in
one.
Florida.
This is the one thing I was surprised I did not get at all when I was.
You were surprised.
Yeah, like
I went into I only studied finance to understand business and like understand some
yeah, like I
finances.
would study it myself, but like I was like, why are they teaching it? Like this is more important than
Oh,
whatever I'm learning.
majority of times it is. Majority of times it is, but like I'll be surprised if they get that quicker into public schools, like at high school level, than at a much faster rate than what it took to get the financial literacy.
Financial literacy, yeah.
Not just economics, more like just financial literacy. Economics is much more complicated sometimes. Takes out what I've heard today was it takes away the human aspect of things and only accounts for like the technical, which is not always the case. A human aspect plays a big role.
Human nature absolutely plays a big role in the economy and how someone spends their money, stuff like that. Right. So the BIP 341, that whole Merkle crypto thing, cryptography thing, is the purpose of that, or at least what it does, it lets you verify that there's data that exists within a set without having to specifically see that information there. Kind of similar to the zero knowledge proof thing that we talked about later, but it's not zero knowledge. There is some knowledge.
Yeah, it's knowledge.
So the analogy that I heard was like, imagine having a bag of potatoes and just looking at two potatoes and knowing that the rest of the bag is good. That's kind of what BIP 341 does.
Wait, looking at two potatoes, and from those two potatoes being like, okay, the rest has to be okay.
Yeah.
It makes it more efficient.
It's a simplified explanation
Mm-hmm.
because this is cryptography. The kind of like what happens with cryptography is like you get presented a certain information, and there's ways to check that information that makes it so that whoever doesn't know how to check the information can't confirm that information. Exactly.
I see.
And then the last improvement proposal is 342, and that just kind of changes the programming language of Bitcoin so that it's easier to make updates in the future. Those are the three updates that happen with the Taproot soft fork. You do not need an update to the Taproot soft fork. It's just kind of something that works. It's just
Yeah, because there's not
it's a soft fork.
it's not there's no consensus needed to do it.
Mhm.
Or was there? Because it's a soft fork.
So people need to be using it for it to work, obviously. Exactly how soft forks get implemented, it's a good question. That's something that I think I gotta look into a little bit more because
Yeah, because what I wrote here is a soft fork requires no action from the users to make a small change.
yeah, users
Only
being
users being
like the people making transactions,
yes.
like me, you, our listeners, and like just the general population.
Yeah, but in a soft fork, we don't need to do anything either.
Yeah, we don't need to do anything.
It's only the people who are validating or mining.
Yeah, exactly. But someone's got to do it. There's like something. There's some like maintenance work that does need to be done for any type of fork. Those are usually developers,
Yeah,
maintainers.
we'll get back to that one. I want to see how is that change exactly executed? Because I know for hard forks, it has to go through consensus. It has to be agreed upon by the majority. I'm not sure if that applies for soft forks the same way in every.
So yeah, so for the soft fork, it's not like a different chain. It's
Yeah, it's the same chain. Nothing changes.
Chain. It's just the soft fork. Okay. So like I know the hard fork analogy of like a fork in the road
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of sense. I don't know a good analogy for the soft fork, and that's why I want to be able to come back and figure that one out because.
So this is what I have right here. The differences between a hard fork and a soft fork. Since we're currently talking about soft forks, I'm gonna read that one. A soft fork can be used to add new features and functions that do not change the rules a blockchain must follow. A soft fork are often used to implement new features at a program level.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, so I was just reading the next paragraph to get an idea. It says to better understand the difference between a hard fork and a soft fork, it can be thought of as a basic operating system. Upgrade on a mobile device or a computer. After the upgrade, all applications on the device will work with the new version of the operating system. A hard fork in this scenario
changing the operating system
would be a complete change to a new operating system.
That makes sense. Okay, that's actually good. That's a good analogy. That's an analogy that I could follow.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we'll get there.
Yeah. So yeah, like at first I was like just knew that they weren't backwards compatible, which is like you do the system update and it's still the same OS or similar OS, so the apps still work, but it's not backwards compatible whenever you change the whole operating system, essentially the protocol, and well, like now you can't like it doesn't work the same way. So that's actually good. Where are you reading that from?
Oh, so everyone can look at it. This is from Cointelegraph.com. The article is soft fork versus hard fork differences explained.
Okay.
So everyone can go check it out. Yeah, that's what they said there about the differences. They go more into they talk about the DAO hack as well.
The DAO hack. I mean, the DAO hack was like huge. It was a big thing.
50. I mean, we see the number now, 50 million. And I'm like, that's not the biggest that we've had now. We had one a few months back for 600. We had one before that for 300.
Yeah, it wasn't the biggest. I mean, it was the biggest of its time.
Of its time. Now it's just like triple that.
Yeah.
4 times that. It's just like,
I mean, the market's gotten bigger since then. That happened in what, 2016? Yeah, 2016.
The DAO hack? Let me see. Yes. Ooh, correct. The DAO was launched in 2016.
Oh.
The Ethereum network. So close enough. It says here for that it was 150 million that they had, and the number they say it was 60 million. 60 million worth of ETH in that time.
Oh, 60.
60 million worth of ETH, correct. And this article is saying so around 40% of all the circulation Ethereum was invested into the DAO. Oh,
How much percent?
14%
Oh, what the heck? What's
Of-
the best? Okay,
of the invested, meaning
okay.
the total
Yeah,
150.
okay.
Right at this point in time, which is crazy to think, Ethereum was trading below $10. Below $10.
2016 prices for you.
2016 was below $10. That was puts it at 6 years ago and some change. Crazy that it was $10. Should have stocked up at that
That was a
time.
good time to stock
It was a good time to stock up. We didn't have full-time jobs at that point. We barely had jobs.
You barely had
Actually, I was in high school. I didn't have a job. I was a broke boy. There was no money there.
There was zero equity coming in.
Equity. It was only expenses.
Yeah,
It was just expenses for my parents. They were like, dude, can you stop spending money? Like, they're like, can you stop breathing for a second?
Can you stop?
They're like, stop
I
it.
need to chill out for a second.
These are jokes, guys. By the way, my parents.
They would never say it.
They made me think about it. They made me thought it.
They
Honestly,
would never say it.
I wouldn't. I would think about it too if I was my own child. Again, these are jokes.
I did back on Monday, and I'm feeling it.
Back on
Yeah,
Monday.
my back has been sore.
I did legs on Monday.
Wait, today's Tuesday, so yeah, I did back yesterday. Makes sense.
I did legs on Monday. Yesterday, I did a plate. It was too light. I'm not sore.
A plate
A plate
on what?
squatting.
Bro, I did a plate.
Okay, big boy.
And I did a plate and 10 today after doing the weight I went up to, and just repped it out for 20.
You're a big boy like that. I wanted to work on my form.
Yeah.
Because my squatting form is not the greatest. But the first time I did it at a plate, I felt sore the next day. Today's not the case.
No, that's good.
No, that's bad.
You're not so. Oh, I see.
You're not sore.
I mean,
Meaning my muscles used to that weight.
yeah,
Meaning
yeah.
there's not a way to do.
It wasn't an effective workout, but it is. It's a workout.
It was a training.
It's a training. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pure training.
You gotta get baseline going.
That means I have to increase.
Yeah, you gotta go up and weight.
So today it was me and Julio at the gym. We were doing chest. We were benching. I got to plate 25. I didn't do 2 plates today. I wasn't gonna go up more. I was gonna leave it at plate 25 and just do it for the 3 sets. However, 2 people came up to ask us how many we had left, and they just I hate how when they just stand right in front of you. And I was like, okay, if you're gonna stand right in front of me, I'm gonna put a 10 on. I'm gonna make you have to take these weights off after I'm done. I'm gonna rep this out for 8.
I'll give you some work for
I'm gonna give you work. I did it. I go, Julio. I think I went to him. Julio, I'm going for 8. Count them.
Count them.
I did the 8, but I don't know how I did 8. It was heavy. I got off. I didn't tell Julio it was for him. It was for him to unrack. I go, I only did the 10 so they can unrack it afterwards. They didn't even unrack it. They went to the bench next to us, and we finished. And I finished at the same time the other people did.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, the other bench only had a plate on it.
So what I'm hearing is that you should approach more people at the gym so they can push themselves harder.
I don't know. I wouldn't do that to me because if I was in a good mood, I'll just leave on 3 sets. I'll be like, I don't want you next to me.
Let me just.
I think it's because too much wild. I've seen too much wild stuff on Instagram and in the gym. I'm like, I don't need this right now. You're too close.
But they're not doing anything. They're just waiting for you to.
I understand, Alexander. When you see a video of a guy using a lat pull down bar with handles and they're swinging it at another guy's legs while he's trying to jump over something, a Smith machine. I don't want that energy around me. I
Don't have the energy around you.
Nah, but I think people would just. I think if I take too long and be like, I don't want that.
I see the gym as a very unproblematic place.
No, I almost saw a fight happen in the gym 3 weeks ago. What do you mean I'm problematic?
Oh, dog. I don't know.
It's only problematic because you go at 6 in the morning when there's nobody there.
There's people there. There's not a lot of people. And everyone is this is the thing. Everyone there is waking up.
Yeah, it's like,
Everyone
how do you
there-
want to fight?
Everyone's like, there's no need to fight right now.
Like, it's too early for this. They barely had their cafecito.
There's also no need to fight. There's so much space. There's no 5 o'clock rush.
5 o'clock. Me and Julio walked in the gym. The
6 o'clock.
entire front section of the gym where all the cardio is
Filled. Yeah.
I was like, I literally looked at it and I'm like, why are you all here?
Why are you all here?
I know that's a bad thing to say, but it's packed, okay, guys?
Go to a more exclusive.
Or just I would just wish for them to raise the prices. Makes my life easier. I don't have to move. to another gym.
Maybe I don't think there'll be a huge change in population.
If you raise it $10, there might be.
All right, so I don't know how entertaining this gym
I don't.
talk is.
So guys, this is why it's called sometimes crypto, because we do this.
Let's go
I don't
back.
want it to be an average thing that's gonna happen. Now we're gonna jump off the things, and I hope people follow along. And if they don't, I hope you keep on listening to when we get exciting again.
No.
I don't know, man. 50-50 on it.
No. All right, so a hard fork, another hard fork, because we talked about two Bitcoin soft forks.
You talked about. I didn't know those two Bitcoin soft forks.
Really?
I didn't know Bitcoin had soft forks. I thought Bitcoin has been untouched my entire life.
Oh no, Bitcoin doesn't have soft forks.
I know it has hard forks.
Bitcoin has had a hard fork.
Two hard forks.
Two. You're right, two. Two.
Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin.
Yeah. So tell me about like.
Thank God you picked Litecoin. I don't know enough about Bitcoin Cash apart from just trying to be faster. So Litecoin was a fork for Bitcoin, same idea as Bitcoin, but a few changes. Most notably, as we all know, Bitcoin has 21 million Bitcoins. That's the limit. 21 million BTCs. Litecoin has a same hard cap, but a little more. It's 4x. So it's like, if I'm not mistaken, 84 million Litecoins.
It's 4x?
It's
I
4x.
thought it was just double.
4 times it.
4 times it. Okay.
Yeah. The idea behind it was it will have a bigger block size. I don't know the exact block size. I'm sorry. I didn't write that number down. It has a bigger block size, and the idea is and how Bitcoin takes 10 minutes to mint. Mine the next block. This one, the Litecoin will do it in 2.5. Is the idea. So it's meant to be a more efficient, more scalable version of Bitcoin. I think people just like BTC a lot. Like they just like that. I think BTC has the appeal of it's number one. It was the original.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's why it will be number one for a very long time.
What? I'm pretty sure there's some reason, but like, what's the reason for just quadrupling everything?
Bigger supply. So it would essentially mean there has to be a higher demand to have the same value as Bitcoin, but it also makes it more accessible longer term to more people.
So it's probably like a overtime thing, like for prolonged adoption.
On top of that, it also helps with fees since there are more coins. So the fees here, instead of being like Bitcoin, which is like it could be $2 to $10 whenever the chain's really backed up. Here, it's from what I saw and read, was like 2 cents at the max. Like it's much cheaper to transact in. So that's what helps with it.
Yeah, because it probably has a smaller block,
bigger block size,
bigger block size,
and is able to and also does
do it more frequently.
do more frequently since it takes 2.5 minutes. But that's really the main differences and why they did it. Also, if I'm not mistaken, it really wasn't like just a hard fork, right? It wasn't this more so it was a copied version of Bitcoin that was just edited to be better.
Yeah, but okay, so yeah,
it's still considered a fork,
it's
but
a
little different to a fork being created and splitting off.
Mm-hmm.
Same idea, but I think this one was like created on purpose.
So you don't know if it has a similar transaction history. That
I assume it does, since the way they're saying it is.
Look into that. I don't know. I think because I do know that it was made as to be like identical to Bitcoin, just more coins. But I don't know if it's a fork. Like
I heard it was a copy. Like they copied the.
That's kind of how I processed it.
The cryptography for it just copied the code.
The
My
code,
bad.
yeah.
They copied the code.
The whole framework of
copied
Bitcoin.
and just edited.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a fork though. Like
they consider it a fork.
Okay.
Let's go back.
The thing is the way I described the fork earlier was like it has a similar the similar transaction history. For it to be a fork, there has to be like, oh, we have 21 million Bitcoin in total circulation. Let's say you happen to have 1 or 5 at this time. God knows how many you could have had, but let's say 5 to keep things simple. If you have 5 Bitcoin, for it to be considered a fork from the definition I gave earlier, whenever Litecoin came into existence, you would have now 10 Litecoin in a Litecoin wallet because, or not 10, 20, because you said it was a multiple of 4. Um, and you would still have that 5 Bitcoin in your Bitcoin wallet. That, at least that's the way that.
So it's not a fork. Correction. I
It's a
apologize.
copy.
It is a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is considered a new chain without a shared genesis block.
Yeah.
So it's a new
Yeah,
chain.
so that's
So it's just a copy.
Yeah.
I don't know why you had it as a fork then.
I mean, people.
Or maybe I could have just
I could
misinterpreted.
see why people would consider it to be a fork, or like kind of like confuse it to be a fork, because if it's the same structure, just to change the numbers, then yeah, it's a fork.
It's literally the same
But
thing. It
it's
says
not a fork because it doesn't have the same genesis block.
correct. Just a quick Google search. This is literally Gemini.com. The first thing that pops up is Litecoin was created from a copy of Bitcoin's source code, as opposed to a forking it from the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah. So therefore, not a fork.
Not a
fork. Just
but people consider it because it's not consider it's just a pure copy.
This is why people prefer Bitcoin, because Litecoin's an imitation.
He just went for your throat right there. He's like, "What's good, honey?"
This is what it is. What it is. Like,
You know what it is?
we're just gonna copy it. We're gonna imitate it. Just different.
Right? Versus, so as you said that, it made me think: is Solana a copy of Ethereum? In the sense of it's trying to do the same thing or trying to be better?
Yeah. So anytime someone copies someone, there's 2 types of copying. There's copying it to get the same results, or there's copying it to set up a framework to get better results.
Fair enough.
A copy's a copy. That's all I'm saying. It's a copy.
Wouldn't
The Bitcoin came first. The other ones,
so isn't it anything after one a copy to a degree? To a degree, not completely.
well, it kinda is, but
Or is just everyone trying to solve different answers?
everyone is trying to solve different answers. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that there's some reason for someone to have created Litecoin. The whole like bigger economy, because smaller block sizes indicates that Bitcoin should be used more as a store of value and not so much as a
Transactioning.
digital cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like XRP and other things are considered.
It's, at least from the direction I see it going, it's solely to settle transactions, not conduct daily transactions.
Yes, too slow is not a.
It's something that you want to have on hand, so like, oh, if you need the cash, like as a savings account.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think it's gonna get there. It's just not there in the short term. Because as we talked about, I don't know if we were recording when I said it, how I think we did, since the rates hikes are gonna occur, and currently crypto markets are the most liquid sometimes. Those are the first when funds get pulled out, since it's being treated as a stock. Crypto is treated as a stock, and not treated as like technology with use cases and
Yeah, it's also treated as a risk, like a risk asset.
correct.
And it's liquid, so yeah, if someone finds that their portfolio's at
risk,
and
you're like,
danger, they're gonna be okay. Let's take
This
up
is the first place.
the most risk.
yeah, this is first, then whatchamacallit, then stocks, bonds, house, gold at some point if it's really necessary.
Yeah,
Even though that's gonna be hard to move gold.
gold is typically hard to move
Like, it happened in
and
Ukraine.
easy to get stolen.
No, it happened in Ukraine when people were trying to escape with gold from the country. It was being confiscated and being taken from them.
Yeah, that I believe it. I believe it.
I know it happened. That's wild. That's how I sell people on Bitcoin.
That's absolutely.
That's like literally the best way is you sell anyone on Bitcoin is this is very simple. This is actually a good way of understanding it. I got this from Salamandran. Alejandro
Salamandran.
Salamandran.
I've never heard that name before in my life.
So he's a car YouTuber. He's also into crypto.
Okay, Salamandran.
Yeah,
That's a
Alejandro.
cool name.
Check out his YouTube.
Alejandro?
Alejandro.
Why do you say Salamandran?
Because that's what his YouTube channel is called.
Oh, okay.
And he has he's Mexican, he has a Spanish and English
Alejandro.
show. Yeah. Amen. So what he said was, think about it like this. If you have 50 million in gold and shit hits the fan, how are you moving it?
You're not.
Like shit hits the fan in your country, meaning you have to leave your country
you need a dick.
ASAP. And you can go to Europe somewhere else and everything's chilling over there. Just your current country went to shit.
You have officially become a refugee.
Yes. How do you move 50 million
You can't.
in gold?
In gold, you cannot.
logistically,
you gotta hire security personnel. How you
It's-
gonna pay them? In gold? Did they
it's
protecting?
almost logistically impossible, very difficult.
Super hard,
However, you have 50 million worth of Bitcoin.
bro.
10 seconds.
Bro,
10 seconds.
you're chilling.
Obviously, I don't mean if shit hits the fan in apocalypse. I mean like this country the country you live in now goes to shit. You need to get out.
You become in imminent danger.
Yes,
You have imminent danger on your ass, and you
only
I
have
gotta move.
exactly.
You can't move 50 million gold.
You can barely move.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can
but
barely
it's
move.
difficult.
You can barely move 50,000 worth of gold.
Yeah,
Forget 50 mil. 50,000 worth of gold is close to impossible to move.
it's hard.
So the aspect is Bitcoin, instant wallet, move it.
No, you don't have to move your wallet. You just gotta.
No, you gotta take it with you.
Yeah, you just gotta, if you have a hard wallet.
If you have a hard wallet, if you have a hot wallet, which this is gonna be a topic for another day. Security,
Yeah, operational security.
operational security. We're gonna go into that one. That's gonna be a fun one.
That's gonna be a fun one. That is gonna be a fun episode.
A lot of lessons were learned throughout those.
Through the early days.
Through the early days, a lot of lessons are still being learned.
So there's one thing that I do want to clarify is this is definitely a pay to learn framework.
Oh yeah.
Um,
If you have an opportunity not to pay to learn,
yeah, we're trying to do that for you guys, so you don't have to pay.
don't be a fucking moron like me sometimes.
Good.
If I'm on it,
It's rough out there. It is a dangerous world.
it hurts. This is how much it hurts. Remember Miami coin?
Miami.
I'm not gonna give prices, but remember how much you paid.
Yeah.
We can currently buy the same amount.
And I don't even have a number for how much more we could get.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you
What we invested initially was like nothing.
a small. Okay, so what we invested initially is a small shit ton for us.
Mhm.
We can currently do that what we spent in the last 2 weekends.
Yeah.
With what we spent in the last 3 weekends, you can get the same amount. You can get 10 times more Miami coin than what we got.
Yep.
With the current price, 0.00005. I think we should buy.
I think it's not.
I think it's still time to buy, and staking is still at 57%.
It's not financial advice. It's just a
This
conversation.
is a conversation of what we might do.
Don't listen to that.
Don't make this decision. We down on Miami coin hard. We're still trying. This is the only reason we're doubling down is because we live in Miami, and I'm willing to die with my
Honestly,
city.
yes. This is a city I'm like.
I'm willing to die in it.
I'm with
I'm-
the city.
Patrick Bet David, who you.
Me buying Miami coin is not financial advice. It's a political.
It's a
stance.
political stance at this point. We stand with Miami. Patrick Bet David, it makes me laugh. He goes, "Yeah, everyone who goes to Nashville, Texas, it's just a pit stop." He goes, 2 to 5 years, you're coming down to Florida, baby.
Of course,
And I'm like, you know what? He's on the money.
it's on the money.
So we gotta buy now. Real estate's gonna go up at some point. My dad said it best. He goes, "This might be the only market where we might not see the crashes we see in others in real estate." He goes, "You know why? Because we have a demand that's absurd."
Yeah, dude, the ban just there's such a shortage in housing here. It's insane.
My dad made me laugh. My dad goes, and on top of that, he goes, the other reason for it is because anyone who can buy right now, you're gonna rent it either way. So there's no shortage of people needing to rent as well, not just buying, renting.
Mhm.
So you buy it and you don't want to sell right now because the markets are crashing. You're like, I won't. I just rent it
Just rent it.
because people still want to rent it. And I was like, dude, you're 100% on the money.
You know, the real estate market here in Miami is hot, hot, hot.
Dude, I looked at my price range. I looked at my price range. I gave myself,
And you're like,
I'll say the number. I gave myself 180K to shop around for. Anything that exists. I think I found like 3 shacks I could afford.
three shacks.
3
yeah.
shacks all the way like southwest,
Yeah,
like bumfuck.
You asked me if you sent me you sent me something. You're like, oh, is this the one that we saw? Oh no, never mind. That was something else. Because I thought you asked me if we saw this house, a specific house, and I was like, oh, we did see the house, but it's not the house that you thought it was. And I thought it was something else, but no, that's irrelevant. Okay, there is one more fork that I want to talk about.
Go for it.
Bitcoin Cash fork.
Bitcoin Cash is actually a fork.
That's a fork. Yeah,
That is a
no,
fork.
it's not Litecoin. It's not.
It's not Litecoin. It's not a copy.
It
It's
had the same
an actual
genesis,
fork.
Yeah.
We apologize for that difference. We're not perfect. We're gonna get shit wrong, and we'll try to correct it as.
I mean, we corrected it like immediately.
Yeah, but I mean, what if we did it?
Oh yeah.
Then we'll just gotta get back and be like, we were wrong.
We're powerful. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're only
for sure.
human.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm only stupid, but sure, I'm not stupid. I'm sometimes stupid.
Sometimes stupid.
That's a good podcast too.
No,
Sometimes
you
stupid.
know what that is? No, that's not a good
What?
podcast. That's good merchandise.
Dude. Clip it. Sometimes stupid.
That's funny. Okay, so
You have to be confident to say that though.
absolutely, yeah. You
have to be confident.
You gotta be mad
You have
confident.
to be confident to say that.
Sometimes.
I mean, sometimes stupid, not all the time.
All right, so
Bitcoin Cash.
Bitcoin Cash, the block size war. This is like I remember reading this in a book. Like,
Really?
yeah, so I've only ever read one book for Bitcoin crypto,
I don't read books.
and it was
I-
mentioned. It
I
was
should read-
mentioned in the book. I was like, okay. So essentially, for this fork, the people who were pushing for Bitcoin Cash wanted to increase the block size to have more transactions per second. Essentially,
Yeah, they want to fix scalability.
Mhm.
That's a very difficult thing to fix with Bitcoin.
yeah, because at the time, imagine sending $5 or a few cents on the Bitcoin network, and it costing you $5 to send those cents.
Question before we continue. Do you know when Bitcoin Cash was forked?
August
Did you write that?
2017.
Okay. I want to make mainly the year 2017. Okay. Oh, right. When it peaked almost, right?
Yeah,
That's
so
peak. That's when it went. Not peaked. From
2017 was peak.
that was the peak before 2020.
That's okay. That's probably what happened. The peak came around, and everyone's like, "Shit! All this is going on. Like transactions are going left and right."
Oh, and they forked it there, you think?
And then they're like, "Okay, so
What date did you say exactly?
August.
August what?
You can." No, I don't know the specific.
Oh,
date.
okay.
Just know August 2017.
2017. I do want to look at
Yeah.
2017.
So I'm pretty sure like the people who were pushing the increase in the block size were realizing that the transactions are becoming expensive because there's so much movement on the chain, and they're saying, oh well, since this is obviously doesn't make sense to be sending a few cents across the network and it costing $5 is not efficient. They wanted to increase it for quicker, faster, and cheaper transactions. Did you pull the chart?
I do have the chart. The price of Bitcoin in August. So this is the date I'm gonna use is August 4th. The price of Bitcoin August 4th, 2017 was $3,237. The volume of Bitcoin was 1 trillion? Or what? No, 1 billion.
$1 billion. Yeah, I was gonna say.
1 billion. I'm sorry for that, guys.
was
There was a lot of zeros. I got thrown off.
I was like, we got it to $1 trillion recently.
Guys, there was a lot of zeros. I was thrown off for a second. I apologize.
And it was this last bull market.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't looked at that many zeros to know if it's a billion or not. Like, that many times. I haven't thought of the amount.
It's a number you don't see too often.
To know that I just go 1 billion, 2
Yeah.
billion.
Yeah, $1
You know?
trillion. It's letters, not zeros.
Exactly. But that was the price. The peak for that happened. Not peak. I'm just gonna give a close number because it's a chart. Was Monday 18th December 2017. 18K, 18,100. It was 6 billion.
6
Volume. 6 billion volume.
in volume.
Yep.
So I believe that fork, the Bitcoin Cash fork, came after the soft fork of SegWit, the segregation witness.
Mm-hmm.
Because the transactions for Bitcoin at the time were 7 transactions per second. And the people who were wanting to increase the block size obviously felt like that was not enough. And even though Bitcoin just went up from 5 to 7 transactions per second. You told me a number the other day about how many transactions Visa does.
Oh, I didn't give you the accurate number though.
No,
I gave you one number.
a number.
I can look up the accurate number for you in 2 seconds.
Yeah. So when Bitcoin Cash hard forked and went on doing its thing, it was doing 116 transactions per second. So much bigger than the seven transactions per second that Bitcoin does. I don't know the exact change in the block size.
I have the number now.
I know that Bitcoin block size at the time was one megabyte. I think they might have changed it to 5 megabytes, but I don't see how 5 megabytes goes from 7 to 116. Unless it's like
So currently Visa does, this is out of March 6, 2022, 65,000 transactions per second.
65,000.
Currently, the most comparable crypto is Solana, that's said to be able to do 60 or 60 plus, and it hasn't done it yet.
Yeah. So what I have
It hasn't had the volume to do
what I
it.
have written here was, I'm assuming at the time Visa was doing 24,000 transactions per second.
Maybe
Because the number that I have is 24.
when
But
maybe
this is 2017.
most likely that's an
So,
accurate number.
Like fair,
Yeah, yeah.
what's it called?
How many people have grown from there to
Yeah,
there to
exactly.
no, no, 100%.
Exactly.
I mean, what is it? This is the current debt rate. The current debt we have with credit cards has gone up as well in the last like 5 months or something.
What?
The
Say that again? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no, it's good. The credit card debt we currently have from 5 months ago has grown.
Significantly.
Stupid numbers. Have you looked at the world debt clock recently?
Death clock?
Not death clock.
Debt.
Debt clock. I'm sorry.
No.
I mean, death is
I
not.
look at the population chart sometimes, but
I haven't looked at the death clock.
debt.
Debt clock.
So, the people who did not support the Bitcoin Cash fork
Okay.
felt that a bigger block size would threaten decentralization. The reason being is because a bigger block size means that you need to have like bulkier hardware. You gotta have it's a higher barrier to entry for running your own node and validating and mining. So a bigger block size would mean that like either more wealthier individuals or institutions would be the ones controlling the majority of the chain, not peer to peer. Not it wouldn't be as peer to peer.
So I'm gonna try to look at this number first and try to say it. I'm gonna flip my computer to you, just so I can. I think it's 1 trillion.
How many zeros does it have?
One, no zeros. One, two. After the one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
It sounds like a trillion.
Sounds like a trillion, right?
Yeah.
So there's 1 trillion in credit card debt per household. That is $7,111
$7,111? That sounds about right
per household.
per household.
But
That's the average.
yes, that's the average
That's
of
the
credit card debt.
average. Yeah, because
I'm halfway there.
There's people who have a lot more, and there's people who are terrified of credit cards and do not touch it.
Oh yeah, because people don't know how to play the game.
Yeah, people don't know how to leverage credit.
Yes, but typically people learn.
I mean, there's also people who are just irresponsible and don't have the capacity to be like, okay, this needs to be paid off.
I don't agree with the capacity. I don't think they
People do
have.
have the capacity. People do have the capacity.
I think they have the capacity. I don't. I think they lack the discipline and training to do so.
The training, I think, is mostly training.
I think discipline.
Discipline. Yeah, discipline's like
You have to be like, I cannot spend that money right now because I have to do X.
yeah.
I have a simple rule. I think everyone should listen to this rule. You should never spend more than what is in your debit card. Whatever that number is, you should never spend more than that.
Yeah,
If it says $1,000 and your credit card is $5,000, you only have $1,000.
Mhm.
You have to play that game. That's a good rule. It helps. I have gotten back on track to following that rule as of late. I'm glad.
you're breaking the rule for a little while.
Oh baby. I was playing the Wild Wild West.
So I think it's important to note that we were not talking about physical forks that we use to eat eat food.
I would hope not.
Talking about crypto forks.
Crypto forks.
Because a soft fork is a bad fork to be using. Man, I hate it whenever I'm using one of those like flimsy plastic forks and I'm sticking it into something that just bends and
Oh, I hate the knives. When you have like crappy knives,
it just like wobbles. It's like
those kill me.
yeah.
Those really actually like bother me.
Right. Well, I got nothing else to say.
What's our current time?
Do you have any?
Nah, before you start exiting out of here and saying what up. No. What is the time? I want to know a timestamp right now.
Timestamp right now is 59 minutes and 15 seconds.
I could live with that.
This is our longer episode.
Yeah, we
Longest episode as of yet.
we're not good sometimes. Sometimes we could do longer. Sometimes we don't. We get better at it, I promise.
I mean, I think this is a good amount of time. I don't know. I just an hour.
Well,
The other one.
before we go,
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna. That's what really what I want to see. I was like, do you have any like other thoughts?
Before we
anything you wanna
go,
say?
in descriptions of all of our posts, I don't know if it's there now. It should be there by the next time you see it. The Instagram page for Sometimes Crypto will be on there. If you're a listener, please follow, and that will give updates there on when the podcast coming out, when the episode's out, and hopefully, ideally, there should be more informational posts coming along the way as we continue to grow
Yeah, we're gonna be more active on our socials.
on sometimes, yeah, on our socials as well.
Sometimes.
Our socials will also be on there. Please follow. As of right now, the podcast only follows ourselves.
Yeah.
No one else. I don't know as of right now if we're gonna follow others or just
Yeah.
follow influencers or informational stuff so we can retweet, so we could share as well.
Yeah. Best way to verify that it is indeed us. It is check the podcast. Check the podcast. Who's the podcast follower?
Yeah. Well, as of right now, only 2 people. It's William and Alex. His Instagram handle is Alexander.
No, it's Grander Alexander.
Grander Alexander. Okay. My Instagram is William with the boat. There's a what is it?
Underscore.
Underscore between every one of those words. William underscore with underscore. You know what I mean? You'll figure it out. There's an underscore. There's no underscore at the end.
All right. Thank you for listening in.
This has been another week of Sometimes Crypto.
The Unscripted Crypto Podcast.
Catch you on the next one.